Yo, this is my shipping container that I've turned into a dirt bike, woodworking, project of all kinds sort of shop. I keep my 2 dirt bikes in there and I build cool things. This is where the shop sits, right next to my house that I just bought. Am I crazy for buying it? Yes, absolutely, 100%. It needs a lot of work. This shop is gonna help me get a bunch of that work done, and then hopefully, once I'm done working on the house and I'm living there, the shop will transition into a whole lot more time for cool stuff and projects. Storing my motorcycles and adventure gear, storing my tools and providing me with a clean, dry, safe storage place to work on projects, as well as provide a space to hang out and enjoy my dirt bikes, send emails, work on my computer, work on permitting for houses, projects, work on YouTube stuff. These are my 2 bikes. That's a 2020 YZ250X dirt bike, and that's my 2022 Yamaha Tenere 700 adventure bike. I love this thing. I love these 2. I'm gonna make some videos about them, so check those out. I've got those on the left-hand side walking in, along with a bunch of gear and tool accessory storage. So this is where I'm keeping most of the stuff from my motorcycle. I've got parts, couple boxes of parts. That's a Tesla Starlink box. I've got like 50 megabits per second down Wi-Fi in this thing, which is sweet. Allows me to do some cool stuff. Keep a bunch of oil for my pickup and my dirt bikes up there, along with my moto backpack. And these are Kriega OS soft bags for the Tenere. I've got a great setup for those now. On the right-hand side is where I keep my tools. Pretty much zeroed in on the Milwaukee pack out and fuel systems. So I've been acquiring tools like crazy this year. I just got into building custom houses here in Rocky Mountains of Colorado, and I need a lot of tools. I like to have the right stuff, and I figure it'll be useful. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of cool builds on the channel here. I need to get some more batteries, but yeah, everything's running Milwaukee M18. I might make some dedicated tool bays for those up there, but these open shelves are flexible right now. I'm still learning how I'm going to use this thing, and big ass workbench real estate is a priority for me. This is just about 7 feet. I cut about a foot off to make it fit. I'm going to cut a man door in here, and I've left space for that with a coat rack on the side of it, so I can get in and out a little bit easier without undoing this big door and letting all the heat out potentially if I'm heating it in the wintertime. One thing, it's dangerous, and I haven't figured out a way to close these shipping container doors behind yourself, nor would I really want to. There's no handles or anything on the inside, so there's inevitably a crack about that big letting air in while I'm heating this thing with the wood stove and a space heater. I've got this to run whenever needed, keep it above freezing in here. I've had water freeze, and I don't like the rubber and soft materials on my bikes just going through heat cycles all winter. I'm trying to keep these things in good shape. This is over the top, and I love it. I had a tiny wood stove from a truck camper build that I have yet to share with you guys, but very well might. That's the truck camper that I built. It's sweet. I was thinking about putting this wood stove in it when I bought the wood stove, but it was going to be heavy and illogistical for a pop-top camper. So I ended up installing it in here, and it's awesome. It pumps. I've got some wood storage underneath the base, and this is tile from Home Depot on top of the wood frame I built. I was super stressed out about clearances and everything when I was looking into research for doing this in my truck camper, because that whole truck camper is made of wood. But this shipping container doesn't really have much that will burn, knock on wood, except for the framing that I have in here. And I've been feeling the backside of the stove. Nothing is such that I couldn't hold my hand up against it for a long period of time. So don't copy me on your wood stove install, but also know it doesn't have to be perfect, especially when you're rigging up a shop. It converts to insulated pipe on the outside, and I didn't insulate up against the flue anywhere. More shop deets. I built this internal wood framing that goes up one side. There's a cross. This actually is So I'll start from the beginning. Put down a layer of 1-inch rigid underneath this plywood that I trimmed to size to fit side to side. And then I started to build this framing system up above. So these are 93 inches tall, these vertical 2x4 members, and they go up, and then they are wedged in the crack on an exterior impression, a concave corrugated channel on the interior, so they don't really wobble side to side because they fit pretty conveniently down the back of that. And then up at the top, they're not fastened in any way to the shipping container. They're just press fit apart with horizontal 2x4 members, and that has allowed me to create a box frame on the inside of this thing to support 6.5-inch R19 insulation on the top that I haven't finished with spray foam, but I plan to. And it's allowed me to build these shelving units on the sides, which is sweet. Those can support a lot of weight. I'll climb around on this stuff. You can see I didn't get any type of fancy with my woodworking here. I just used blocks for everything and 2.5-inch or 3-inch deckmate screws, and this is more than strong enough. I was time constrained. I had a bunch of stuff that I needed to get in here, and it's a shop, so as long as it works. You can see I've hung the R19 insulation from side to side up in the roof, and on the back I've started insulating the walls with, that's 2-inch rigid, and I need to spray foam the cracks in between that. And I actually purchased a spray foam kit. I can't afford to lose any space, or I don't want to lose any space on these walls, as little as possible with insulation, because my motorcycles, when they're leaned up, really take every inch they can get, and it allows this walkway to be reasonable to conduct projects even with bikes in here. So I think I'm going to directly spray foam the exterior of the container along these walls, and that'll sort me out. In 30 degrees, it's very comfortable in here. We just had a cold freeze around Christmas of 2022, and it got down to negative 15 here in Evergreen, Colorado. Easy money. So on those nights, I wasn't able to work in here, even with the wood stove going, and the mini heater, especially with the big crack I have when the door's open prior to cutting my man door, and the uninsulated walls, these are just freezing to the touch, and these two heat sources are working overtime. As promised, here it is where the power comes into the container. This is a heavy-duty extension cord plugged into my house, and this junction box has a nice presence that's low profile on the inside of the container, but sticks far enough out to allow me to run wires in through the bottom, so I don't have to worry as much about weatherproofing that inlet into the container. And then up this ladder on the roof, you can see the rest of what I got going. This is my SpaceX Starlink satellite. That is an excellent option in the Front Range of Colorado, which is getting shipped now because my neighbors are only experiencing 4 or 5 megabits per second on local small company point-to-point systems that just beam off of local mountains and hit this neighborhood here. But I wanted something that was much faster than that, and I'm getting 60 megabits per second down through this setup right now, which is sweet. That's the exit of my wood stove, as you can see. And this is a sneak peek of what we got going on the property. That's test pits for a septic system. But that's another video. Check out my channel if you want to see me build this house in the Rocky Mountains here. It's the 28th. I'm heading to the job site. We got about 1.5 feet in Evergreen last night.